Hey, what's the first thing you remember? Not the first photo of you, the actual first memory. Most people land somewhere around 3 or 4, which means your story begins late. Some claim earlier. A few people swear they remember being in the womb. Those people are almost certainly wrong, but we'll get to that. Here's the strange part. For the first few years of your life, you were fully conscious. You learned to walk. You learned to talk. You figured out what your own name meant. You learned what comfort felt like, what fear felt like, what your mother's face meant. Some of the most foundational experiences any human will ever have. And you remember almost none of them. Where did they go? Sigmund Freud noticed this over 100 years ago and gave it a name: infantile amnesia. His own explanation that we repress these memories because they're somehow threatening has not aged well. But the phenomenon itself is real and it's universal. Every human you've ever met has a missing first chapter. For most of the last century, scientists thought they had the answer. Babies can't remember because babies can't form memories in the first place. The hippocampus, the seahorse-shaped structure in the brain that builds new memories, was supposedly still under construction during those early years. No finished memory hardware, no memories. Simple, case closed. Except in 2025, a team at Yale found something that should not have been there. They put babies, some as young as 12 months old, into an fMRI scanner. Now, getting an awake infant to lie still inside a loud brain scanning machine is already kind of a miracle. But they did it. They showed the babies images, faces, objects, scenes, and watched what happened in the hippocampus. It lit up. The infant hippocampus, the supposedly unfinished memory center, was actively encoding memories. When a baby successfully recognized an image later, the researchers could see that its hippocampus had been more active when it first saw it. The babies were forming memories. The hardware was working. The recordings were being made. So if the recordings exist, why can't we play them back? To answer that, we have to go scuba diving. In 1975, an Australian psychologist named Alan Baddeley took a group of divers and gave them lists of words to memorize. Some of them learned the words on dry land. Some of them learned the words underwater. Then he tested them. Divers who'd learned the words underwater remembered them much better when they were tested underwater again. On dry land, the same words evaporated. The opposite was also true. Words learned on the beach were easier to retrieve on the beach, harder to retrieve underwater. The memory wasn't just the words. It was the words plus everything else around the moment they were filed. The pressure, the bubbles, the cold, the strange weight of the body. This is called state-dependent memory, and it doesn't just apply to scuba divers. People who learn things drunk remember them better drunk. People who study while chewing gum recall more if they're chewing gum during the test. Even mood can become part of the memory. Your brain doesn't file a memory in isolation. It files the memory along with the entire state of the world at the moment it happened. And to retrieve it later, you need to be in something close to that same state. Now ask yourself something. What state was your 1-year-old self in? No words, no concept of yesterday, no concept of tomorrow, no stable sense of being a self that persists from one day to the next. No narrative voice in your head saying this is happening to me. A 1-year-old isn't running a simpler version of your operating system. It's running a completely different one. Whatever memories that baby filed, they were filed under conditions you can no longer reproduce. The library is still there. The index was written in a script you no longer read. But here's the strange part. There's a second thing happening on top of that. A researcher named Paul Frankland in Toronto noticed something counterintuitive about the infant brain. The hippocampus in babies isn't just developing, it's exploding. New neurons are being born at a rate the brain will never match again. And Frankland's hypothesis was that this growth might actively erase existing memories. Each wave of new neurons disrupts the delicate connections holding old memories in place. He tested this in mice. When he artificially increased neurogenesis in adult mice, the mice forgot things they'd previously remembered. When he slowed it down in infant mice, the babies held on to memories they would normally have lost. The growth and the forgetting moved together. So the infant brain is doing two things at once. It's filing memories in a language you can't read, and it's overwriting those memories with new neurons faster than at any other point in life. The recordings exist. but the tape is being overwritten while it's still playing. And there's a third twist, because of course there is. The memories you think you have from age 3 or 4, many of them aren't real. Researchers have found that a significant percentage of people's earliest memories are reconstructions. A family photo becomes a scene. A story your parents told you 100 times becomes a moment you can almost see. Your brain builds the memory after the fact and stores it like a real one. And the brain doesn't label which is which. The fragments that are actually yours and the ones your brain manufactured from photo albums feel identical from the inside. Some of your oldest, most treasured memories, the ones that feel like the foundation of who you are, may be things you never actually experienced. They're stories about you, told to you, that your brain quietly converted into memories of you. You have no way to tell them apart. Neither do I. Neither does anyone. So here's the full picture. For the first few years of your life, your brain was recording constantly, but it was filing those memories using a state you can no longer enter. It was overwriting them with explosive neuron growth, and the fragments that survived got mixed in with reconstructions you can't distinguish from the real thing. The first chapter of you is not gone from the world. It is gone from you. Other people remember it. Your parents remember it. Whoever held you in the first hour of your life remembers it. You're the only person on Earth who was present for the entire formation of who you are and cannot recall a single moment of it. But here's the part that gets me. You didn't lose those years. You just can't remember them because you didn't keep them as memories. You kept them as yourself, the way you trust people, the way you respond to comfort, the shape of your attachment to other people, the baseline sense of whether the world is safe. None of that is stored as episodes you can replay. It's stored as the structure of who you are. You can't remember those years because you didn't file them as the past. You became them. So the next time someone asks what your earliest memory is, you can give them the same answer everyone gives. Some patch of sunlight, some birthday, some face. But somewhere underneath that, there's a version of you who lived years you'll never see, who built the entire foundation of who you are, and then handed you the keys and vanished into the architecture. You're still carrying everything they learned. You just can't remember learning it.